My name is Tréchelle and I grew up in Wampum, Manitoba. I identify myself as a daughter, a sister, and a family member. I'm also a student at the University of Manitoba and a member of the Bison women's hockey team. My home First Nation is Sioux Dakota Nation, right along the Manitoba-Saskatchewan border. I think most of my fondest memories from my childhood come from my summers and my time spent at my Couche and my uncle's in Birdtail. And I think a lot of times, people think of the challenges that First Nations people face, poverty and hardship and intergenerational trauma. And unfortunately, my community is no different. We do have those hardships and challenges, but my community is filled with so much love. My uncle and my grandfather, he played hockey growing up, and my dad played hockey growing up too. And there's that stereotype that girls don't play hockey. But for my dad, he never hesitated. He built me a backyard rink when I was just 3 years old. My dad and me kind of have this saying that we always say to each other, "Wake up, it's time to be great." I think when I was younger, I thought he was referencing hockey because he'd wake me up and we'd go skate in the morning at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. before school together. And Dad's talking about everything. He's not just referencing hockey. He means in everything you do that day, put your best foot forward and give it all that you have. I played 2 years in Boston for the Boston Shamrocks in the Junior Women's Hockey League there, so that was a pretty cool experience. I ended up getting a scholarship to go play hockey at the University of Calgary, and then I made the transfer home to the U of M. I'm a 3-time academic All-Canadian, so that's excelling in school and sport.
Now, top of the face-off circle.
Every time I step on the ice, it just brings me so much joy. It's always been a way for me to kind of stay balanced on the 4 quadrants of the medicine wheel, so mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And I think I definitely found my voice through sport. With the 215 recoveries and Kamloops, I think that obviously hit home for a lot of people. Those were the stories that I heard growing up. So I knew there was that hurt in my community and there was that need for healing. The story that my uncle Donald told me when he was younger, he said that when he was at the Birdo Residential School, he wanted nothing more than to just run away and go home. And I was like, well, I want to walk home for Uncle Donald because he never had the chance to. So on July 1st, 2021, we gathered on the front lawn of the Birdo Residential School, and an elder and Birdo Residential School survivor, Terry Westastje, he performed a pipe ceremony, a traditional pipe ceremony. Everything that the residential school system stood for was to, kill the Indian and the child. It was to eradicate Indigenous culture, Indigenous people. And that day, standing there and performing a pipe ceremony on the front lawn of that very institution that, tried to destroy all of that, it showed that they failed. A lot of elders in my community and survivors said that it was the first time that they had ever returned to the school since they left. So it ended up being kind of a really reclamation of power for them to be able to return to the school and walk away on their own terms. It was something that I wanted to do again. So we planned the first reconciliation run for September 30th, 2022. And it followed the same route as the healing walk. The amount of support that I received, I think it's definitely going to be an annual thing, and I hope to expand on it in the future. In 2022, I received the University of Manitoba Indigenous Student of Excellence Award for community building. I was chosen to be a youth delegate for Generation for Equality, which was a program put on by the Native Women's Association of Canada. I got involved with the Winnipeg Aboriginal Film Festival actually through the Healing Walk. I'm sharing my story, but I'm also sharing my grandparents' story. And I think for me that's super important just because, they grew up in a time where they weren't allowed to tell their truth. And if they did tell their truth, no one believed them. I always say, your voices are being heard now, your stories are being shared, and people are believing it. So that's the most important thing to me. My Couche Mildred, I think she inspires me the most because I just want to capitalize on every opportunity because there are opportunities she wasn't ever given. So I think she's my biggest inspiration. And, I have a picture of me and her when I was younger, up on the fridge in my apartment. And early in the morning, I just look at that picture and I just know that I'm doing it for her. I'm studying criminology with a minor in Indigenous studies. So I hope to pursue a career in law, advocating for Indigenous people and for my community and for our nations. As an Indigenous woman, I think, the term advocate is obviously how you would describe it, but for me, it just feels more like a duty and a responsibility, and it just seems like it's truly from my heart. My name is Tréchelle. Yes, I can, and so can you.